So what do you see? Because you've been in it for a while. You're guiding people, and like you said, you see the whole gamut, whole range of people that are new to it, people who are experienced in it, people who probably think they know more than they really know.
Oh yeah. I bet you get that in insurance too,
all
right?
the time, all the time.
My cousin's uncle said.
Right. I read on the internet. So what are some of those pitfalls that you see that home buyers fall into when they're looking to buy a house? What is it that they just make mistakes on? Left to their own devices, they're going to screw this up.
Not choosing a good mortgage person. It's like, oh, I know this guy. And there are some, and I don't want to get into names or anything, but and not the people, it's actually larger institutions who don't react as quickly as some of the smaller loan people. I would say that was maybe the biggest. They also, they give me a box to be in. So Don, this is our price range, say 525. And we want 3 bedrooms, 2 baths, and they'll say it very specifically. We want a yard this big. And I'll go, okay. And so I will set up a program for them. But then they'll go on Zillow or something, and they'll go just right outside the box.
Right.
How about looking at this one? And I go, fine, I didn't put that in the box to find for you. I tried to expand the box a bit just so we'd have 11, but you're kind of way outside of here. We go there and look, and they want to buy it. And then they pull another $25,000 from a relative, or they reach a little deeper in their 401k. Right, to get
afford what they want rather
to
than
really,
yeah.
I guess those are probably the two things. Everyone has such a different look, a different feel, a different perspective on it. Some people need, we set up a roadmap, because here's the roadmap, because you don't know what you're doing. It's kind of like you're going in this blind. You're probably the same thing in insurance, right? People really don't understand insurance, except they know they have to be covered, right?
Right.
So we set up this is the first step, second step, third step, fourth step, to make it convenient for them, to make it so they know what's coming next. And then after that, what's coming next.
Do you find like those steps change a little bit between, person A and person B?
Yes and no. We see patterns.
Right.
So after a while, the pattern, I make sure I cover as much different as we can.
Right. I'm sure like there's like if you're in this category, these are the steps you're going to do. If you're in this category, these are the steps you're going to do.
No, the steps are pretty consistent.
Okay.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty much we're going to do the same thing the same way.
Each person is so individual, and so we explain things differently, but the steps are pretty consistent. Get a mortgage first. Let's get you set up. And then, we go over, that I represent them totally and completely, that we're going to look at these houses. If we've seen 5 or 6 houses, then we'll readjust, because I want that internal monologue externalized.
Right.
So I know what you're thinking as you're looking at a house. And that's for buyers. And then, we go over, what's on the contract just a little bit, so that there's no surprises. What is earnest money? That kind of thing. Explain it.
Right.
It's
what is earnest money? Because maybe a lot of people don't understand what earnest money is.
Yeah, earnest money is just good faith money, saying, "Hey, I'm going to give you, say, 1% of the price, $500,000 house. I'm going to put $5,000 money into escrow, so that if I back out the last minute, you are not left holding the bag. You get a little something." It's just saying, "Hey, I'm really into this. I'm serious."
Now, is that something that's you don't have to do earnest money, obviously, but is that something that's pretty common? Almost everyone's doing it.
Very common. If I represent a seller and they put no earnest money on, I've lost.
Not a serious offer.
It's not a serious offer. Yeah, and I don't think I've ever gotten one without earnest money.
Yeah, because that's something probably some new home buyers, first time, may not think about until they're there, and then you're like, wait a minute, you want me to put money down that I could lose if we backed out of this deal? Right.
I have stories, right? It's like, okay, so I'm going to protect this earnest money for the inspection or the financing addendums. If something happens, I will get your earnest money back. But 5 days before closing, do not go out and buy all new furniture. We had a lady who did that. She went and bought all new furniture. It brought her score down with the bank just enough that she lost the loan and lost her earnest money.
Oh,
and so I tell a story almost every time, just to make sure. Don't buy a new truck. Don't do anything different, and be careful.
Right. while you're buying a house is not the time to go buy a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And early on, I quite frankly, I made some mistakes. And there was one where I personally, because I was not diligent enough, lesson learned, that I actually paid, they lost their earnest money because of me, and I gave them that earnest money back from my own pocket.